shaking my head. I think this was one of the biggest PR debacles a rugby league had in the last 12 months, till their RFL topped it all off with Toronto and Toulouse.
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, the press conference at Bradford didn't help very much either, did it? When you had some chairman personally calling out other people as well. It's exactly that same stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think that was a follow-up.
Yeah. No, exactly. It's all part of like that culture had been set as this is how we do our business now. We air our dirty laundry in public, and so everyone started doing it, didn't they? That's a good point. What about in Europe? Do you think, like, obviously Switzerland, I don't even know if anyone knows about rugby league in Switzerland other than you and the people you talk to. So how do we make it grow into European countries with things like we talked about Red Star Belgrade before we started talking, before we recorded actually, and we talked about Barcelona as well, because we're both going to go to Barcelona to watch Wigan visit the Catalan Dragons in the Catalan capital of Barcelona. So do you think things like that are tools to help grow it in Europe?
Yes, that's one big thing, especially the Barcelona game.
Yeah.
With Barcelona promoting it, that's big shot. And you have to look at NFL. I don't know how much money they invested into American football in Europe to get what they now have at Wembley. I remember 20 years ago, NFL was like an outside sport.
Definitely, it's mainstream now. It's covered like for 10 hours on a Sunday night on Sky Sports in Britain, and I'm guessing it's very similar in sports channels across Europe because of it.
And they probably invested 20 million per year.
They put on huge shows, don't they? They don't just make it about the game. They put on a huge show. Like you look at the grand final at Old Trafford, and the, in inverted commas, fan village was one mobile bar, one really lame-looking marquee tent, and a hastily put together scaffolding stage that just had Alex Simmons and Jones. What's his name?
Jeremy
Jones Buchanan stood on it talking to people, and that was our version of a fan village. Whereas you go to an NFL game in London, like you're saying, the amount of money that they have a lot more money to invest because they've worked their brand so much better. But it doesn't mean that we can't start working our brand better to get to this sort of position. But they have a big show, effectively, all weekend across the city. They'll have an event in the middle of the city centre on the Saturday where everyone going knows that American football's in town. This is the greatest show in town right now. And then before the game, they'll have a fan village, but their fan village will have dozens of options for food. It will have interactive games. It will have the cheerleaders from the sides coming out and putting on performances. It'll have ex-players from the sides coming out and speaking to the fans. It'll have little bits where you can go and play and get involved in the game yourself and things like that. It will have the Lombardi trophies there that you can go and get your pictures with. It'll have loads of stuff, not just two blokes with thick northern accents on the stage making in-jokes and a bar that you have to queue up to get to.
Exactly. And I mean, I know Rugby League doesn't have that kind of money.
No.
That's number one. But for example, Rugby League World Cup 2017 was live in German free TV.
Wow.
Not on a channel like Free Sports or something, on the same channel which is NFL on.
Wow.
And it was with a German commentator, biggest channel, 100 million viewing or range of audience.
Yeah, potential. Yeah.
Potential. And you know what? No commercial, no advert for Super League or NRL. And I was sitting there. They broadcasted more games than the BBC. And I was sitting there, and Rugby League did nothing with it. The biggest European market was just ignored.
That's mind-blowing. So all the games from the World Cup were live on national sports channels in Germany, one of the biggest countries in Europe, a country that has got money to spend, a country that likes physical sports. We already know that. And none of our clubs or institutions are doing anything to hit that market.
No, and I was just sitting there and thinking, Jimmy Carnhorst plays that Leeds. Why? Send him into the studio.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Mind-blowing. Wow. You've really taken me aback there, Karsten, with that. I didn't even think it would be shown in a country like Germany, but the fact that it was, and we've missed opportunities that are so basic, like you say.
Just
put
if
Jimmy
you don't
Carnhorst
have money,
on Ryanair for 50 quid. It's not hard.
If you don't have money, you have to take these chances.
Yeah.
I mean, it would also be a great commercial for German Rugby League. I mean, the commentator were always saying things about we have clubs, we have a competition, and so on and so on. But having an actual national player there would have...
and say this national player just won the title last year.
Yeah, I mean, he is not unsuccessful.
No. And it's called the European Super League, technically.
Yeah.
So we can say he's the champion of Europe when you're in Germany talking about this guy.
And that's just when I'm sitting there. And one thing I learned first about Rugby League is Rugby League misses every opportunity to... don't miss the opportunity to miss the opportunity. Which comes to my mind.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, so what other plans then have you got for 2019? What are kind of your Rugby League New Year's resolutions, and what are you planning on getting to see next year?
So I'm definitely already booked the London Broncos weekend game in March.
It's the first weekend of March, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I already booked Barcelona. I think this is once in a lifetime, so everybody has to come. Definitely,
yeah. And if people are listening to this that don't live, sort of between Manchester and Liverpool, they can go and fly from everywhere else relatively cheaply.
Yeah.
It's just...
I think even from Leeds something flies to Barcelona.
Yeah, and I know people from Wigan who are driving over to Leeds Bradford Airport to get their flights because it's slightly cheaper than getting the plane from Liverpool or Manchester for the time windows that they want to fly out. So yeah, even Leeds you can get there from. But I know people flying out from Belfast, from Newcastle, from London, from Birmingham. So and I know people doing it from Switzerland. That's you. So yeah, there's loads of opportunities for that. I think the sad aspect to it is it's at the same weekend as the Summer Bash, which is on my doorstep where I live. It's 10 minutes away from me on the train, and I won't be able to go to that weekend because I'll be in Barcelona. But like you say, we've got a chance here to really... We've got an opportunity, so let's not miss it, because we could make it the highest attended Super League regular season game pretty easily, I would suggest.
And I would say that's a chance for the fans to step up. Not just Wickham or Catalan fans, all fans step up.
Give yourself a one-off experience, yeah.
I mean, you had at the season-ending podcast, it was Vive la Revolution. Just one chance to show the clubs that the game is bigger than them. So not just Wickham shirts, I will wear my Cowboy shirt, just to show them that there are fans from all over the place, from all clubs.
That's a great sort of saying, really. The game is bigger than the clubs, and the clubs need to tap into that and realise that and work for that. Like you see, like going back to the NFL example, the NFL crest, that's kind of the overriding thing over all the different individual team franchises. I know maybe in other sports, like in baseball, maybe the Yankees logo is more synonymous than baseball itself.
Yeah.
But in the NFL, there's no one team that stands above the NFL.
Yeah. or the NHL, or I think even if you look Premier League is a major brand, and every team comes after it.
But maybe you look at our sport, and probably people might know who like South Sydney are, or who Wigan Warriors are, or who Leeds Rhinos are, before they even know the name of the competition that they play in, because they'll remember them from seeing them years ago in the past when the competitions were called totally different things with totally different setups and structures.
Don't start me with structures.
So are you coming over to see any other games next year? I know that you've developed a huge affinity for the Stanningley Community Club as well in Leeds.
Yes, I will. I'm scheduling a trip to the Leeds area with watching game at Stanningley, spending a Saturday at Stanningley ground, and then I hopefully get Bradford, Leeds, or Castleford, or all three of them into it in a week of holidays. Depends on the fixtures. I have to take a look then.
Yeah.
And the other is in the beginning of September, a trip to Toronto.
Excellent.
Watch 2 games there and experience the beer garden and the match day experience.
Yeah, I mean, we heard all about that on our recent show with Sher and Lil from the sort of Wolfpack fan base, and yeah, that definitely sells a picture of a great atmosphere and a really friendly crowd. So, like I was saying to them, I'm quite disappointed that Wigan haven't got Toronto haven't got promoted, so Wigan don't give me an excuse to go to Toronto. I don't think I could afford to finance it without that excuse, almost.
I mean, you get Emma gets in Barcelona trip.
Well, Emma sort of was okay with me going to Barcelona on my own, well, with my friend this year, because I was going to watch Wigan. She couldn't really argue it, so it's kind of like that. If I was just going on my own without her, she would have struggled to accept that unless I'd say, but I'm going to watch Wigan, and she kind of accepts that. You know, in my life, my 2 big loves are her and Wigan. So there you go. So I'm sure you'll absolutely love that trip as well. It sounds like you've got a great year plan. Like you say, you'll double up on the amount of live games you've seen. Has learning about the Super League made the game more accessible for you now, that because you live in Europe, obviously?
Honestly, not, because they're just broadcasting 3 games.
Right.
Per round. The NRL with the new app, they made a step forward. I don't know how good the NFL app is, but the NRL app is better than every other sports app I know.
Yeah, I've not used the Watch NRL app, but yeah, I use the NFL Game Pass app, and that's absolutely fantastic. You can watch all the games, you can watch them in different versions of the games, you can watch full-length game, you can watch a condensed version of the game where you don't miss anything, but it cuts out all of the bits in between. So it'd be kind of like a Rugby League game where they cut out the waiting for kicking a dropout, cut out the time at scrums, cut out the time for conversions, and actually don't show those bits on the footage that they show, or they do highlights versions. So is the Watch NRL app similar to that?
They have highlights. They don't have the condensed games till now. They told me that will come, but they have all their shows on there. Everything is live or on demand.
Yeah. Well, that's I suppose one thing we don't have though is all the shows.
I sent you the mail with the offer from the RFL, which was not so great. Let's say it like this.
Yeah, it was. All you'd get really is stuff that you could get quite accessibly on dodgy internet feeds, like you say, and nothing extra than that.
Yeah, you pay the same amount of money for the RFL offer as the NRL app, but you just get 3 live games per week, plus
rather than
the Challenge Cup game, which is on the BBC.
Wow, so you get nothing really.
No.
You get nothing compared to what you get on the NRL app for the same price.